this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here again with that folio and journal that I have been working with. And what I thought we could do today is just come back and do some collaging on our little envelope flaps and things that we added in the previous video. So obviously at the moment they're all completely plain, and what I've done, I've got some printouts from my vintage tanners, which is obviously the kit that I have been using you know, to create this folio. And I have been mixing it, as you know, with some vintage pieces and these stencil pieces and things like that. So I thought, let's just see what we can come up with. So I'm just going to crack straight on really with doing it. So I really am trying not to overthink, which, as you know, that does not come naturally to me. I generally like to procrastinate for quite a while over where to put things and, you know, how to have things and what have you, especially for some reason when it comes to collage. You know, collage just seems to, I don't know, throw me out somehow. So yeah, definitely this is not as easy as it sounds for me to just, you know, get sticking things on. So yeah, I mean, might just get started with kind of having this one here. We could mix it in obviously with some of that book page that we have been using. So we've got this book page here, which, you know, obviously is a random selection, I guess, of darker sort of colours. So I've got this one here, which is oh, what do you call this? Shorthand. That's it. It's from a shorthand yeah, exercise book, I guess. A shorthand what's the word? Manual. Sorry, my brain seems to have just gone to mush completely. I have been doing several videos today, so, you know, in my defence, I'll just use that as my excuse for why I seem to have no ability to concentrate or even form words, to be honest. So I'm just going to, yeah, just get gluing some bits and pieces down. So don't want to kind of overthink. And again, I mean, I'm just literally reaching for, you know, whatever's kind of to hand. I don't want to be, you know, wondering, oh, shall I use this? Shall I use that? You know, I just want to be able to reach and grab stuff and, you know, pop it on. So that's all I'm trying to do. Okay. So this one will just pop on there like that. Okay. So I hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're all having a good day. Maybe you're doing some crafting. The sun is shining here. I'm not saying it's warm, but yeah, the sun is shining. Again, I know I say this all the time, but I am filming ahead. So if, you know, if what I'm saying doesn't match your weather, if you are actually in the UK, it's not that I'm lying. It's, you know, I filmed this ahead. So it may well be that the weather is very different today to, you know, when I'm filming at the moment. So yeah, who knows? Hopefully the weather's much better now, or, you know, not now, but in real life than it is today. But, you know, it may be that it's actually deteriorated, to be honest. You know, who knows what the weather's going to be doing. Okay, so I might just kind of call that, you know, good enough on there. I'm going to just try and, I think, aim to get my base kind of pieces down with the collage, and then go back to things and add, like, you know, decorative pieces and details and, you know, maybe some vintage photographs and things like that after I do the collaging, I think. So we'll just stick with the collaging first and then, yeah, hopefully kind of go back to bits. Okay, so I feel like now I just need to kind of have a little bit of black because obviously we used all that ivory on the other piece, which, you know, I don't want to now suddenly have like a flurry of ivory stuff, if you see what I mean. So let's just do that. You know, and I don't think it really matters too much how this collage kind of looks at the moment, because obviously, like I say, we're probably going to stick pieces over in the, you know, form of pockets and tucks and what have you. So, you know, I don't think it's anything to kind of get too bogged down in how it looks, because it's going to be predominantly, you know, covered up anyway, essentially. So, you know, we'll see how it looks at the end. Perhaps then I will reflect on what I've just said and kind of think, oh, that was a mistake. It didn't actually kind of pan out like that. Okay, so that one's a bit glued on there, but again, it doesn't matter because we can just, you know, we can just cover that up. So I might just even just put that down there now. Yep. Actually, I'm going to trim it down on this edge, I think. Like that. Oops. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? And what do we want with that? Got some more book page. Again, more of that shorthand manual. Let's just see if we could have that taken out. Oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? So again, I'm just going to take that down actually at the top edge. Because obviously if I tear it down here, I'm losing more and more of the book page itself, if you see what I mean. I might as well go for the bit that's not really got any decoration on it, which, you know, just happens to be that straight edge. Okay. I watched that film, The Founder, again last night, which I know I've talked about that film before. It's the story about the, you know, how McDonald's was, you know, came to be, basically. It's with Michael Keaton. It's a really good film. Yeah, I've seen it a couple of times now. And, yeah, it's a really good film. But anyone who hasn't seen it, I mean, it's quite a serious film. It's not like a, you know, it's not a funny film or anything like that. But, you know, it's just very interesting. And, yeah, it's a good film. So if you haven't seen it, I would really recommend it. I'm sure that I did say all this when I saw it the first time. You know, I said it was good and definitely one to, you know, worth a watch. But yeah, I would stand by that and say I still enjoyed it yesterday. So if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth a look. I mean, especially if, you know, if you quite like Michael Keaton. I mean, he's a really good actor, isn't he? And, you know, he's very versatile, isn't he? I mean, he plays lots and lots of different roles. And, you know, to be honest, I mean, he plays every role that he plays perfectly, doesn't he? So, yeah. But it's just a very interesting story. And the both times that I've seen it, or I might have actually seen it 3 times, to be honest, I've been left feeling very conflicted, you know. I mean, I don't want to kind of do a spoiler by telling you the story, you know, which I know, yeah, it is the story of how McDonald's came to be. But, you know, I don't want to kind of spoil it or anything. But, yeah, you kind of end up quite conflicted by, you know, what the main character does, i.e., you know, Michael Keaton, what he does, and how he goes about it. But in the other respect, you know, he does have some very, you know, admirable qualities. I mean, he's super driven, super hardworking, super ambitious, and he's just got the foresight and things that, you know, maybe wouldn't have been there otherwise. So, yeah, it's really a good story, you know, and obviously it's a true story. I mean, I don't know how true it is, but yeah, I think it is pretty accurate, because I'm sure when I saw it for the first time, I did actually Google, you know, the story, and it seemed it was pretty, you know, pretty accurate, to be honest. But yeah, very, very good film. Definitely worth watching if you haven't seen it. And that was on Amazon Prime. You know, it wasn't on Netflix. It was on Prime. So, oh, honestly, I mean, some days we just find ourselves flicking through the channels like endlessly trying to find something to watch. And it was just by luck, really, because we happened to talk about that film, The Founder, and I said, oh, well, let's watch that. And it just, you know, luckily it was on there, because otherwise it would have no doubt turned into one of those nights of flicking through the channels endlessly again. And that's just really frustrating, isn't it, to be honest, when you're just flicking through. Well, I mean, we're not flicking through the channels, to be honest. I'm showing my age there, because you don't flick through the channels anymore, do you? You just look at the, oh, I don't know, listings, I suppose they'd be called. You know, we no longer have to flick through the channels, do we? Because it's all there as a listing. But yeah, I mean, that just is so tedious, isn't it? And sometimes you spend so long flicking through the listings that really you just end up watching nothing. And, you know, because by the time that you've settled on something, I mean, I'm a bit of a lightweight when it comes to staying awake. So, you know, I'm kind of going to bed then. So, yeah. It was just handy that we talked about it, and then when I looked, it wasn't on Netflix, but it was on Prime, so it was like, oh yay, we've actually got something to watch without having to endlessly search for something. So yeah, it was worked out well. But I mean, sometimes, you know, you're just looking and looking, and you know, you question, why do we have all these different channels and things, you know, that we subscribe to? I mean, to be honest, if it was just me, I wouldn't obviously probably have them. But you know, of course the kids do like, you know, subscribing to, well, Netflix, predominantly Netflix. You know, so you kind of do, but yeah, I mean, sometimes you kind of have to question, why do you? Because there just seems there's, you know, not really much else to watch than you had before. I mean, I'm sure that's not true. I'm sure, you know, that's me being probably really ungrateful, but, you know, I think it's a combination of, like, you know, finding something on there in the first place, and then that everybody agrees on, everybody wants to watch, you know, because just because I want to watch something, you know, the boys don't want to watch it, or, you know, maybe it's not suitable for, like, my daughter and she's not in bed yet, or, you know, all those kinds of things. Or, you know, somebody's in the mood for comedy, somebody else in the mood for, like, a, I mean, let's face it, an action film, because, you know, that's what boys and men seem to really like, isn't it? But yeah, they're not probably my favourite films to watch, action movies, but, you know, a fair amount of time does seem to be spent watching them. Unfortunately. But yeah, anyway, so that's a good film, because it's, you know, it's just a true drama, I guess they would call it, probably. You know, so you don't, like, have to be in the mood for anything, really. It's just a, you know, a story. Okay, let's have a look. Let's see. Love this page, I must say. This is the one that I used, I think, for the cover of the actual journal. It's really nice, isn't it? I don't know, I've got to be honest, I don't know how it's going to work in a collage, because of course it's got those big images on it, but we'll see if we can use it. Might be better off just using this corner, to be honest. I'm hoping that when, you know, the kids get home from school, I'm hoping we're going to be able to go to the beach today. You know, not to sit on the beach or anything, but just for a walk, because, oh, I feel like I haven't really been for a walk for a really long time, and, you know, could just do with, yeah, getting out, getting some fresh air, having a walk. You know, sometimes you just kind of think, oh, I just need to actually move my body and get some exercise. I mean, I do my workout every day, you know, and thank heavens, really, that I do, because, you know, some days, and I'm sure that as crafters, many of you will know where I'm coming from with this, but, I mean, crafting, of course, you know, it's, by nature, it's not a sort of active thing to do, is it? So, you know, once you're kind of crafting, and to be honest, it's so absorbing, you know, you get so engrossed in what you're doing, you know, once you're doing it, you don't kind of then tend to break and think, oh, I must just go for a walk and, you know, fit in a bit of exercise or anything. No, of course you don't do that. You just then, you're crafting then, you know, for the day. So yeah, because I've been sort of busy doing or trying to do quite a few videos, because I'd used a lot of them over the Easter holidays, and I always like to keep quite a few, you know, in the bank, as it were. So I'm trying to kind of get, oh, what's the word? You know, get ahead again with my filming. And so, yeah, subsequently, I'm just kind of crafting all the time and videoing all the time. And to be honest, you know, between that, you know, getting the things ready to do the videos and all of those kinds of things, and please don't think I'm complaining. I'm so not complaining. I mean, this is the most incredible life ever. You know, and I thank you guys so much for, you know, enabling me to do this with my life. But yeah, you know, so once you kind of then get in the crafting zone and in the videoing zone, there's just no room for exercise, let's just say. So subsequently, it's probably not that great for you, you know, physically. I think it's great for your mental health, you know. Crafting really is very therapeutic, I think, and, you know, very soothing. But yeah, mental health and physical health are kind of, I guess, two different things, aren't they? So definitely probably not great for your physical health, because it requires very little movement. And, you know, as I say, I mean, it's not just that, but it's also that it's so, you know, engrossing that, to be honest, by the time you're kind of like stuck into what you're doing, the chances are you're not going to break to go and do some exercise, are you? Because you're loving what you're doing. You know, is what I find anyway. So it's, yeah, it's definitely hard to then, you know, fit in any form of, oh, must nip out for a walk, must get some fresh air, you know. Yeah, that just doesn't really happen, to be honest. I mean, I've still got a big mess in my garden that needs clearing up. So, you know, I also should really go out and do some bits in the garden. But again, you know, that doesn't really kind of come into it either. So, but never mind. Never mind. I mean, aren't we lucky, you know, on the other flip side, aren't we lucky to have such an engrossing, amazing hobby, you know, that we love doing so much that it just literally, your time is just, you know, zapped up by, you know, something that you love doing so much. Because, I mean, very few people have that, I think. Okay, right, these flaps I'm going to just glue down so they're not flapping around. Okay. Just get rid of that piece of book paper, sorry, that was overhanging. Right, so let's just get a couple of bits glued on here before I start again overthinking. Okay. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, no doubt my daughter will come home and I will say about, you know, should we go, you know, down to the beach? I mean, we have to drive to the beach. We're pretty close, but yeah, we have to drive to the beach. But, you know, that's no problem, no big deal. But yeah, I can picture that I will say, should we go to the beach? You know, what for? That's what she'll say. What for? And I'll say, for a walk. No, I don't want to go for a walk. That's exactly what she's going to say. So yeah, probably still won't actually get to go for a walk at all. But yeah, I might try and just, you know, persuade her. Because, you know, it would do her good too. I mean, of course, she's been at school and, you know, she runs around and all the rest of it when she's at school. But, you know, when she comes home, I mean, a lot of the time she does just then sit on her tablet and, you know, she doesn't then really want to do anything. I mean, she does come out quite often wanting to go to the park, you know. But yeah, I mean, if we're not going to the park, invariably she just wants to sit on her tablet. And, you know, I think that's obviously, you know, that's most kids, isn't it, today? But, you know, that's not really very good for them, is it? So, I mean, it's hard to kind of, I don't know, kind of, you know, you think, oh, I must drag her out. And then the other part of you saying, oh, well, she's been at school, she probably is tired, you know. And, you know, I think that's true. But yeah, I mean, she shouldn't really kind of come home and just sit vegging out on her tablet really endlessly. But, you know, yeah, I'm going to try and persuade her to go for a walk anyway. So right, let's just trim this down. Okay, get this one glued down. Still haven't topped my glue up. I'm sure it was the last video that I did when I said, oh, you know, my glue needs topping up. And yep, I'm still making do. And as you can probably hear, it's beginning to complain now. It's not going to let me get away with it much longer, I think. Okay. Yeah, and I mean, maybe my eldest son, who obviously he's at work, maybe he will get home early enough to come with us to the beach as well. So, I mean, his hours kind of vary. And, I mean, ever since the pandemic, really, it's, yeah, his hours are quite all over the place, to be honest. You know, because, of course, it's affected their work as well. And, you know, they don't always kind of have work necessarily that's maybe suitable for him, because obviously he's an apprentice and things, and, you know, things like that. And, yeah, I don't think they've got quite as much work as obviously they did previously, because, you know, again, lots of places still aren't open. And they, you know, they did a lot of, you know, the section that he works for the company that he works for, they did a lot of, you know, commercial kind of projects and things, which, of course, you know, commercial places, they haven't necessarily been open. So, you know, they're not really working as they were sort of previously. So, yeah, I mean, some days he gets home pretty early. I mean, now that I've said this, obviously today he'd probably get home, you know, 6:30. But I mean, quite often, you know, he maybe gets home by, you know, I don't know, 3:30, 4 o'clock, things like that. So it's just, yeah, just kind of varies. You can't really kind of tell, you know, or count on what time he might get home. But it would be nice if he got home as well and he could come to the beach with us too. I mean, I'm saying all this like as if I'm going to manage to persuade my daughter to go, but the chances are she's going to come home and she'll just be so moany when I suggest it that we probably won't even end up going anyway. Or it will end up raining at the time when she comes out from school, in which case he wants to go for a walk on the beach when, you know, when it's raining. So, because I think they did forecast rain today. And you know, we haven't had any yet. So, yeah, it could be that that's going to come just as she's coming out from school. Right, I'm going to have to give in now and fill up my glue because, as you can tell, I'm now struggling to get any glue out of here. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, right, we are now full again with glue. So hopefully that's going to just help everything slightly more. Okay. Yeah, I just totally forgot, to be honest. I should have just filled it up straight after the last video. And yeah, of course, I just totally forgot. And it's not until then you come to use your glue and you think, oops, I said I was going to fill that up. Okay, right. So that's that. And then open that flap. And then let's just get straight on. I think maybe we'll have that sideways on up there. A little bit of this. Yeah, I mean, I don't know when this video will go up. I mean, it could be a little while because I have quite a few other things kind of in progress, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I mean, if it ends up that it's not, you know, not gone up by what I'm about to speak about, you know, then it's still relevant. If not, then please just completely ignore what I'm saying. But, oh, I was walking in with one of the parents at the school today and we were saying, you know, wouldn't it be lovely if we have like the similar sort of lovely summer that we did last year? I mean, it was such an awesome summer. It was so long and it was so hot. I mean, actually, you know, without meaning to sound like a complete moaner, it was a little bit too hot for me, if I'm honest. Yeah, I mean, honestly, never happy, but yes, it was a little bit too hot. But oh, it was so long was the thing. You know, I mean, I don't need it to be as hot as it was because, like I say, it actually, you know, it got to the point where it was like unbearable. But the length of the summer was amazing. I mean, it just went on for literally weeks and weeks. I mean, to be honest, it pretty much, the weather was nice. I'm not saying hot, but nice. Right since our first lockdown, which obviously took place, you know, in the March, right up till, I don't know, August, September. Yeah, I mean, just right the way through. And, oh, it was just incredible. You know, so many amazingly lovely days. And, you know, as soon as that lockdown was over, we just spent so much time at the beach. It was just amazing. So, oh, I really would love it if we just have a really long summer again. Because, you know, of course, who knows what's going to happen with regards to holidays and things this year. And I've talked about this before, but, you know, I was watching the news this morning and, oh, I mean, obviously they're very, you know, of course, you know, they're wanting to get the tourist industry, you know, back on its feet again. You know, all the countries are. Of course, that's, you know, of course they would. Why wouldn't they? But, you know, I just think, oh, it's very risky because, I mean, you could get out somewhere on holiday and then find, you know, that country then has an outbreak. And then, you know, even if you've had your vaccine, that country might go into lockdown, in which case, you know, you're kind of then stuck, you know, stuck on holiday, but not actually being able to, you know, possibly even go out of your hotel room, because that's what happened, I think, you know, back in the beginning of the lockdown. You know, people couldn't even go out of their hotel room. So, you know, what's the point, really? So, you know, it just makes all the difference. If the weather is nice here, then obviously, you know, it's not quite so imperative, you know, to be able to go somewhere and, you know, go on holiday as such. So, yeah, I mean, just really, really hope that we're in for another really great summer. It would be absolutely awesome. Just going to kind of fold this around and then just try and tear it sort of, you know, doesn't have to be on that line, but just because I don't want it looking like I've done it straight, but just, yeah, to give me a sort of rough starting point for how I want that. Okay, just tear it down a bit here so that it fits on there a bit better. Okay, and then, oh, what should we have? What should we have? What should we have? I have some more of this whitey. Well, I mean, it's not white, obviously, but let's just tear that down. Okay. Yep, I love how that looks. Really, really nice. I mean, I just love using blacks and dramatic colours like this. It's, you know, right up my street, to be honest. I really, really love it. I mean, I love all colours, to be honest. You know, as I kind of do projects, I do find myself constantly saying, oh, this is just my type of thing. And, you know, it might be pink, it might be green, it might be turquoise, you know, it might be black. Yeah, I just love most colours, really. But there is something definitely that I find very, very, you know, draws me in when it's kind of black stuff. Because it's got such a sort of dramatic, oh, just really awesome look to it, doesn't it? So, yeah, really do just love using anything with some blacks and dark and, you know, dramatic colours. Yep, love how that looks. Okay, right, going over. So I'm going to do exactly the same here, in that I'm just going to glue that flap down. Okay. I mean, just because, you know, there's no need to have that flap kind of flapping around. You know, it's not serving any purpose. It might as well just be, you know, stuck down. Okay, right. So this is our last surface here out of these, you know, bunch of envelopes on this side. We will then have the other envelope to do. And of course, then if we decide to do some collaging on here, but I'm not sure yet whether I want to, because I don't want them getting lost. At the moment, these stand out quite nicely. I fear that if I collage them up, they could end up just getting completely lost in the you know, in with the rest of the folio, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm not quite sure whether I do want to necessarily collage those up. We shall see. You know, because sometimes you just can't really tell until you know, have done some other bits, can you? You know, and then you kind of think, oh no, I think that would be a little bit too much collage on there. And that might just be how it would be. Now, just wondering whether I should have some of this yellowy type colour, because obviously I've printed out those pages, and so I've been predominantly using those, which of course, you know, they're fine, but they're all then similar colours. So I'm kind of thinking, should I use, mind you, I don't know whether I've used this anywhere in here actually. This might be from another project that I've got currently on the go, using similar papers. Oh dear. Okay. Too many projects on the go at the moment, and yeah, I don't know why that's happened either. I mean, honestly, I used to kind of just do one journal at a time. I mean, now I have to be honest, I hardly even do a journal. I just make lots of things for journals most of the time. You know, because probably, I mean, not many people probably want to see you doing an entire complete journal on a video. So it tends to be making the elements for a journal rather than making the actual journal, if you see what I mean. Just decide which, do I want that over or do I want it under? Oh, over, I think. Yeah, so a lot of it now is just kind of making elements for a journal rather than actually the journal itself. So hence why I really, you know, end up with like loads of incomplete projects really. And I should kind of, yeah, start kind of finishing them up. And lots of you have suggested doing the finishing Fridays and things like that, which is an awesome idea. And yeah, I should really kind of try and do that, to be honest. You know, because that would be really helpful. And, you know, a lot of you, I think, probably are the same. And you have also, you know, unfinished or, you know, semi-finished projects that, you know, it would maybe spur you guys on to do your projects as well. So, you know, it would possibly be really helpful for everybody. Okay. I mean, I know that Gail Bostonelli, she does Scrappy Saturday, doesn't she? I mean, they're normally really fun. I mean, that's kind of using up her scraps, really, rather than finishing projects. But having said that, those scraps often, they are kind of finishing projects, aren't they? Because they're the leftover bits from a project, if you see what I mean. Yeah. Okay, right, so that's those. I'm just going to literally come to here and just do this envelope now, and then we'll probably call that a day for this part, if you see what I mean. So yeah, let's just collage this one up. So okay. Okie dokie. Yeah, I'm just going to tear this down slightly, otherwise that's going to overhang that envelope by a mile. Okay, so I might put that down and then obviously tear this little edge off afterwards, I think. Okay, let's just see if we can have some of this up there. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? I'll just tear that down. Okie dokie, right. Oh, again, do I want that over or under? Oh, yeah, this time I want it under, definitely. And, you know, again, I mean, I know I said this earlier, but it doesn't really matter too much how this is kind of going on there, because obviously I'm going to put elements on these collages, you know, there's going to be things stuck on top of them. So if, for instance, it looks a little bit like, oh, you've got an exact half and half you know, half this page and half that page, I don't think that's going to be visible by the time that we've, well, I mean, I hope anyway. I hope it's not going to be visible by the time that we've stuck other elements on top. Might be completely wrong, in which case I'll be wishing I hadn't done that. But yeah, I don't think it's going to matter too much by the end. But we'll see. Maybe it will. Maybe it will, and I will regret doing this and not really paying more attention to how I've glued things on. Okay. I mean, this is a brilliant project as well for, you know, using up scraps and things. I mean, these that I'm using actually, I mean, I've been using the vintage tanners for something else at the moment, like I say, which, you know, maybe has even gone out already on a video by now. But these are from when I was making the kit, you know, when you kind of print it off and print it off, trying to get it right. So a lot of them have got things on the back. I mean, like this one, for instance, I've just used a, you know, one of those print test page things. You know, so this is a really great project for using things like that, because it just, you know, it's using up those pages that otherwise you maybe, you know, wouldn't really be able to use up. So there we go. Okay, right. Just collage this one up, and then we are kind of done with the foundation of this. Wonder whether we could have this in here. Oh my goodness, I am making such a horrible job of tearing this. Absolutely awful. Yep, definitely didn't make a very good job of that, did I? Okay, let's have that there. Should really try and use the ones that I've kind of partially done, shouldn't I? Okay. Or perhaps we should have this running up that side actually. Right, let's get this glued down. Okay. Like that. Oh, actually, let's move that right down, because I just suddenly thought when this goes on, it's going to be right up in the, you know, with a massive, great big space down here. I mean, the chances are as well, I'm probably going to put some lace. Well, I mean, obviously I'm going to put lace everywhere, but, you know, there'll probably be some lace here, in which case that's not even going to be, you know, an issue. But just in case I don't, you know, I don't want to have to be forced to put lace where it, you know, maybe doesn't look so good because I've left a huge, great big space. It would be better to, you know, not have to cover up something. Okay, right, so that's that. And then we just want a little bit of collage at the top. Do we want this? Oh, I don't know now whether we do or not. Should we have this one? Let's just tear this down. Get rid of this. Like that. Okay, and I'm just going to get rid of this side as well. So again, I don't necessarily want to, you know, tear it straight like that, but I just want a guide for, you know, approximately where I want to tear that, if you see what I mean. So yeah, just like that. And then I'm just going to see whether we want to have this anywhere. Probably not, but I mean, probably not, because we are going to be having, you know, we're going to be putting some vintage kind of pieces on. So, you know, like this might be a case of less is more, if you see what I mean. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I'm using this, but if I use that, we might have a bit much going on there. So yeah, I think probably this is a case of less is more. And honestly, we don't very often hear me say less is more, do we? Because normally I'm a bit of a, you know, more is more. Always more is more. Yeah, I don't very often say less is more, but maybe, just maybe, this is one of those less is more situations. on the rare occasion that we have a less is more situation going on. Right, so that is it. We have done lots and lots of collaging, covered up all of our little envelopes and things, and yeah, made a good start there with the collaging and, you know, what have you. And yeah, then what we'll do is obviously we will come back in and be filling, well, we'll obviously be filling some of the pockets and things. I mean, some of these actually might look good anyway, just like that. But I mean, like for instance here, got these clocks, which are just gorgeous, aren't they? So I'm wondering, and this is exactly what I was just talking about, isn't it? You know, the problem is with crafting, it's so addictive, we can't then stop. So I was about to obviously switch the video off and stop for the day. And now, of course, I can't quite bring myself to, because I've still got things that I'm wanting to try. So we might come back and kind of use some of these vintage type pieces, you know, to kind of then decorate up some of the pages. And then as well as the vintage pieces, I've also got some of my vintage Tanner's pieces here, which are obviously kind of cut out ready. So, I mean, like, for instance, here we've got like a dictionary definition. We might kind of mix and match and do something like that. Excuse me. I've got some, excuse me about that. You know, got some frames and things. So, you know, we're just going to kind of get decorating and, you know, put in some really nice bits and pieces around. I might also want to incorporate some of my faux stamped images, just because they might actually go really well as well. And the faux stamped ones, I have this one which has got the sort of deep brown, I mean, it's like coffee dye, but very dark coffee dye, if you see what I mean. You know, we might want to incorporate some of that, or we might think actually, you know, better off using the ones with the white, you know, the white images, and maybe I'll just kind of spray some coffee dye or something like that on those to use those. I mean, again, I haven't really decided, and yeah, probably should break now before I kind of get suckered into doing some other things. But hopefully that's what we're going to come back and do, is decorate up, you know, the rest of the folio. We'll obviously add some lace and things like that, add some vintage images and some decorative pieces, you know, start filling up the pockets and what have you with some you know, some vintage you know, photographs and things like that. And of course we will also be, you know, adding some lace and things like that onto the folio as well. So yeah, I hope that you like it, and I hope that you know, had fun, and have fun if you are making one of your own, and see you guys soon. Thanks for watching then. Bye.